Hello Internet, I'm Alec the Purple Hair Doofus and welcome to Buddy Reads, where we read a small selection of a book and review it for you. Today we are covering issue number 3 of Fables by Bill Willingham. I hope you've read that issue yourself because I do not want to ruin anything for you. So this section starts off with Bigsby, Frog, otherwise known as Flycatcher, and Little Boy Blue sitting in an empty apartment. And Bigsby says, "Here's what I want you to do. This apartment is right below Red's. It has the same exact floor plan. Here are the crime scene photos. What you're going to do is take this cooler full of blood packets, and you are going to make this apartment look exactly like the apartment above. And then make sure that you keep count of how many packets you have to empty in order to make just as big a mess here as it is upstairs." And Flycatcher, Boy Blue are just kind of like, yeah. We then have Snow White going to King Cole to report on the mystery itself and tell him about how the investigation is going, and she gives him a list of the possible suspects so far, which include Jack, Bluebeard, the Black Forest Witch, which we didn't get to see the interrogation of, but there is a memory lapse of that. Prince Charming, which we also didn't get the interrogation of, but there is also a memory of that herself. And finally, the adversary. They don't want to rule out that the person who had chased them out of Fable Land had done this, because, using blood and theatrics is kind of his thing. King Cole says that's all well and good, but can you get it done before Remembrance Day, before our annual big ball? And she says, we are going to do our best. We then have a page where Bluebeard is hiding a knife in his jacket, and he's putting on nice gloves and boots, and he puts his hand up. His butler puts a large dinner tray in his hand. Bluebeard says, "I'm off to hunt," and the butler says, "Good luck." We then have Bigsby and Snow, and Bigsby brings in a bunch of computers, and Snow says, "Where did you get that?" He says, "Well, I got it from Jack's place. Could you look over it for me?" She says, "Why can't you do it?" And he says, "'Cause machines hate me." And she says, "Fine, but can you tell me, are you any closer to solving this case?" And he says, "I am pretty close." And she says, "Can you tell me if Rose is dead or alive?" And he says, "I can't tell you that yet." And she gets really mad at him, calls him a son of a bitch, and he says, "Technically I was! She was the best mother a boy could ever have." Bigsby then goes back to the jail, and he goes to the guardsman, and he says, "I need the keys to the cell so that I can feed Jack." Guardsman says, "Wow, I got fed this many times. I would want to be locked up." And Bigsby says, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he says, "Well, Bluebeard just came by your word and he said that you had authorized him to bring him dinner." Bigsby says, "No," and he runs down to the cell, and as he's running down to the cell, he slowly turns into the big bad wolf. And he barges into the cell, and there is Bluebeard with Jack, and Bluebeard has a knife to Jack's throat. And Bluebeard's big plan was to torture Jack until Jack told him the truth. And while they're down there, Snow amasses a bunch of people and says, "Let's go get him!" And she gets like a giant sword, and she's like, "Let's go!" And they're walking down the stairs, and there's Bigsby, and he's walking up the stairs with Jack in tow. And Jack says, "I'm bleeding!" And Bigsby says, "You'll be fine!" And he looks at Snow, and he's like, "What were you going to do with that thing?" And Snow was like, "I was going to help you." And he's like, "Thank God you weren't there. Bluebeard totally would have snatched that out of your hands and used it against you." And she says, "Where is Bluebeard?" He says, "Well, he swapped places with Jack." While they're putting everything away, Bigsby slyly asks Snow to the ball. He says, "It's a good thing that you weren't killed. It would be horrible to masquerade around the ball with a headless woman." And she says, "Are you asking me to the ball? I didn't think you would ever go to the ball." And he's like, "I'm going to need to go to the ball if I'm ever going to solve this case. And you're going to need to be the one to come with me." We then get a single panel of the pig sleeping in the bushes, again solidifying the fact that the pig really, really, really doesn't want to go back to the farm. And then we have Bigsby in his apartment in his underwear, and he gets a call. And the call is from the boys, Flycatcher and Little Boy Blue. And he says, "Okay, thanks for doing that. Here's what you're going to have to do now. You're going to have to clean out that apartment, make it spotless. Do it quickly. We only have rent for 2 days. Go upstairs and do the same with Rose's. Make sure it's all clean and it's all pristine." And he takes a breath, and he leaves the apartment. And he goes to Snow. in her office. And Snow is sitting there and she's looking over Jack's computer stuff. She says, did you know that Jack had a .com? You know, apparently he was trying to start an adventure business. Leave it to Jack to start getting on a get-rich-quick scheme a little too late. Bixby says, I have some terrible news. Prepare yourself. And she says, what? And he says, the average human holds about 9 liters of blood. And once it gets past 40%, shock sets in. And the body dies. I just got called back from Little Boy Blue and Flycatcher, and they say that there were 5 pints of blood used in your sister's apartment. I think you have to prepare yourself for the very possible idea that Rose is dead. And that's where the section ends. That's where the issue is done. It's just like, oh, that hurts. That hurts a lot. Not a whole lot of backstory on this one about the adversary and all them, so I'm kind of glad about that. If you like what I'm doing, go ahead and click the subscribe button. If you like this video specifically, go ahead and click that like button. And go ahead and leave a comment letting me know what's your favorite murder mystery. I've been Elliot the Purple Doofus. This has been Buddy Reads, reminding you to watch your pajama radius. And I will see you all in the next issue of Fables by Bill Willingham. Toodles!